with Huston from Alpus Astrology at alpusastrology.com. Thanks for joining me today. So today I'm going to give you my take on the astrological outlook for June of 2018. Now, this is a general reading for everyone that watches my videos, but I will point out if I see a particular sign or signs that may be affected by an aspect I'm talking about, I will certainly mention it in my video. And don't forget, I do put down below my video, I always put some text in there that has maybe more than what's actually in my video that I've had time for. All right, let's start off with the first few days of June. So we're looking at a Grand Trine, and a Grand Trine is formed by 3 different planets. In this case, it is Venus in Cancer. We have a Jupiter retrograde in Scorpio. It's been there for a while, and it will be trining Neptune in Pisces. So this is just an awesome aspect to have, seriously. This is just a big, gigantic sort of cocoon that the universe is holding us all in. So typically we've got things like compassion, kindness, loving, intuitive energy, and it just is a fabulous energy to have spiritual type activities going on as well. You just feel good and feel more benevolent to those around you, and perhaps have a lot of benevolent things done to you as well. At the same time, we're going to have this Venus in Cancer opposite Saturn in Capricorn. It's within orb. So I feel that Cancer in particular, so if you've got a Cancer sun, ascendant, and perhaps a moon, or if you've got a cluster of planets, say, in Cancer around this time, you may actually be more affected than most. So Cancer and then Capricorn being the opposite sign, they may actually have their partners, may have more things happen to them that will actually affect them though. But I see Cancer as being one of the main signs here. So this could be, in some respects, you know, from the love standpoint, because Venus stands for love, as well as values and money. So it could be those two. But I think I see this as a love type thing, because Neptune's involved too, and Neptune's the higher octave of Venus. So this could be a new start for Cancers in terms of their love life. Now, when we look at this Venus opposite Saturn, one of the things that came to my mind was Shakespeare's metaphor from King John, and that was about the gilding of the lily. So if you think about it, Saturn is all about putting structure around things, and then Venus, if we look at Venus as beauty or love, it's trying to put the structure around something that's already beautiful. That's what came to my mind. And so to me, it said that, to remind my viewers that, you know, the rose is a rose as it is. Try not to dissect that rose to figure out, well, why is that so beautiful? And this may actually apply directly to your love life. It can also apply just to beauty, which is in the eye of the beholder as well. So it's what you see in terms of beauty. At this same time, 2nd and 3rd of June, we also have something else going on, which I think actually sets the tone for this June 2018 forecast. It's something that's called a yod. I call it a yod. Some people call it a yod, or it's also called a finger of God. So it's basically 2 planets, all right, forming a finger and pointing at another planet. So there's 3 planets involved, with 2 at the base and then 1 that the finger of God is actually pointing at. So the planets that are at the base are Mercury and the north nodes of the moon. But they're pointing at Saturn in Capricorn. And I think this is very, very important. Why? Because at the end of the month, we actually have a full moon happening in Capricorn at 7 degrees on this point. So I would say there's, again, this opening and closing door type thing that's going to happen. First of all, at the beginning of the month, this whole yod is going to be opening us up to a message from our higher selves. And it's saying it's time. Now, Saturn is father time. Or as the great American writer Henry James, he's one of my favorite authors, Henry James said, It's time to start living the life I've imagined or I've dreamed. So listen to your dreams that you have, especially at the beginning of June with that whole Venus, Jupiter, Neptune, Grand Trine. It's going to be providing a emotional support around this Yod's message. And again, at the end of the month, we'll have that full moon in Capricorn. And I think, and it will also be conjuncting Saturn as well. So again, emphasizing that it's time. And it will bring to a conclusion, or some decision will be made or brought to light around this full moon on the 28th of June. So other areas that this could emphasize is karma, justice. These are all going to be played out in the collective throughout June, culminating in this full moon in Capricorn, with Saturn conjuncting it. And, you know, the other thing that we should do individually is go figure out where Saturn in Capricorn, it's approximately 7 degrees right now, where it is in your chart, what house it's in. That means what area of your life. Now, I'll go through a couple houses for you, but because it's a video, I can't go through every one, but I will put in the text below accompanying this video, I will quickly go through all 12 signs and tell you generally what it means. So this is, we're talking about the Yod and Saturn in Capricorn for you. So I'm just going to say, okay, let's just say you have your ascendant is in Cancer. You have a major number of planets in Cancer. This will actually be affecting your 7th house. So ascendant in Cancer, or your sun in Cancer, if you want to look at it that way, is your 7th house is affected by this Yod. And the 7th house is all about relationships. Now, typically we think of a marriage relationship or a love relationship, but it's a lot of other relationships too. It's the relationship we have with a therapist, with our lawyer, with our business partner. So somehow there's a big message that's being given to you here, or perhaps somebody will contact you that'll be very fortunate for you in terms of getting you on the path that you wanted to go on, that you should have been on, that you've just not gotten on. So the message will come through the 7th house. The other major thing that we have happening, and I think you've probably heard a lot about it on the internet if you keep an eye on other websites too, is this Mars retrograde. Now, Mars retrograde is going to mainly be in Aquarius, and it's on the 26th of June. It'll officially go retrograde, and that will be till it goes then direct on the 28th of August. So we've got Mars retrograde pretty well here all summer. And as I said, I see it as mainly in Aquarius. It does dip back into the few last degrees of Capricorn. So if we looked at a sign, Aquarius for sure is going to be affected by this, but also the opposite sign, which is Leo. So if you've got, you know, your sun or your ascendant or cluster of planets in either Aquarius, especially Aquarius, and or Leo, you will be more directly affected. Now there's other aspects too. I'm just not going to get into those in these videos, but if you want to put in a comment, I'm sure I will be able to get to that as quickly as possible for you. So this could be viewed as a summer of discontent, where frustration is the operative word, or because this is an especially powerful Mars retrograde, because you've got the south nodes of the moon, as you may remember, also in Aquarius, and this Mars retrograde is going to go backwards and forward over that south nodes of the moon. So what are these south nodes of the moon? Just very briefly, the south nodes of the moon are certainly a destiny point, but they're really to do with our past. It's where we easily default to in this lifetime, but it's not where we're really supposed to be going to, and our destiny is. Our destiny is actually in the north nodes of the moon. Now we're talking about the collective here right now, but you can apply it to your own chart too. So get your chart out and see where it's really just the 9 degrees of Aquarius back to 28 degrees of Capricorn that we see this Mercury retrograde going back and forth in. And then once it goes forward again on the 28th of August, it will then continue to go through the rest of Aquarius too. But we really are being asked to let go of things in our life that just don't serve us anymore. And I know I've spoken about this a number of times on my videos, but I'm here to remind you that we're going to get a lot of reminders, probably a lot of things literally coming back from our past to show us and say, do you want this? No. Yes, keep it. But I think a lot of this is going to be getting rid of things. You may have past loves, for instance, coming back into your life, past people, even past projects coming up to be reviewed again. Now, the other thing that goes along in tandem with this Mars retrograde that's important to remember is this. This Mars retrograde will traverse all the eclipses that we've had, either by conjunction or opposition. Now, it will, as I said, go on, once it finishes the Mars retrograde, to continue to go on through all of Aquarius to hit every single eclipse point, either by conjunction or opposition. So the opposition would be those eclipses that happened in Leo. So what this is going to do, this Mars retrograde, that is my view, it's going to connect all those dots where we had sudden unexpected things happening in our lives. So this is within the past year or more. Actually, it's more than a year that the eclipses started happening in Aquarius and in Leo. And we're still having a few more after this too. But there's a lot of them that happen. And this Mars retrograde is going to connect the dots for us and give us a clearer picture. That's what's going to emerge here. For who you are, who you've become as a result of those eclipses, where you're going, and with whom. So Mars retrograde could also pull in some eccentric people our way, into our orbit. But some of these people, especially in the collective, could have some radical scientific ideas. So this will be in conjunction with the ruler of Aquarius, right? Which is Uranus. And where's Uranus right now? Well, Uranus has just gone into Taurus. So these radical scientific ideas could have to do with our Earth, Gaia, every aspect of it, whether it's farming, food, more things like the volcanoes and just that shaking of the Earth. Now, when we head into further into mid-month, so the 14th or 15th of June, we have, actually on the 13th of June, we actually have a new moon that's going to be at 22 degrees of Gemini. We also are going to have Jupiter trining Neptune on its own, and we will have Venus squaring that newly minted Uranus in Taurus. So for sure this is going to be a new start for the Geminis, and it could be tied into a message. Perhaps there's going to be new laws. We have just after this new moon in Gemini, we have on the 14th or 15th, we have Venus will be conjunct the north nodes in Leo and square Uranus in Taurus. Now, at the same time that Venus is conjuncting the north nodes, it will also be trining Chiron in Aries. So I see this like the mid-June time, hovering around that new moon in Gemini. It's a time when our collective values, right, so Venus represents values, and view of money and women, so all three of those things are ruled by Venus. We're going to have a shift to a forward-thinking view in all three of these areas. And this new moon in Gemini, so Gemini is ruled by Mercury, communications, we're going to hear about it. So there'll be people talking about it, there'll be people writing about it, you'll see things on the news, but there's going to be all three of these areas that are going to be coming up. And it's tied in with us moving forward to our destiny, essentially. So we end June with Mercury at 1 degree of Leo, and it will be squaring Uranus in Taurus, exactly. So we can expect unexpected announcements about the changes we've decided to make individually and more messages from the Earth. So think about that ongoing volcano erupting in Hawaii. We may have more of those things. I mean, Uranus also, as I mentioned in other videos, lightning strikes, anything to do with shaking of the earth, major storms, that type of thing, when we're just talking about the earth here though. When we look at July 2018, we've got 2 eclipses happening, one in Cancer at 20 degrees and one in Aquarius. Aquarius again at 4 degrees. And then the other thing that's going to happen in July 2018 is Mercury's going to go retrograde in Leo. Wow. So I would say I'm going to have a lot to say about the astrological forecast for July 2018, so stay tuned. So I'd like to finish off this video for June of 2018 by just doing a very brief introduction for all of you that don't know singing bowls, singing crystal bowls. So I will play this very briefly. I'm doing this, you can see that it's crystal and it's a bowl. It's a 12-inch. And this crystal bowl, actually, each of these different sizes of bowls vibrate to a certain note that corresponds to a certain chakra. And so for me, this one, the 12-inch one, actually vibrates to the note of a B, as in Bobby. And it serves to open up the crown chakra. So I thought, especially for June of 2018, that this is really appropriate because so many of us are continuing that difficult path of really opening up our crown chakra and vibrating at our highest level that we can. So I hope you enjoy this. It will be brief, as I've said. See everyone in July 2018. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.